Look around you. Every single person you have ever met, everyone you have ever seen, every human who has ever spoken to you, belongs to exactly one species. Homo sapiens. Us. That feels normal. It feels like the way things have always been. It isn't. 300,000 years ago, when our species was brand new, we were not alone. We were one of at least 9 different kinds of human, all alive at the same time, all walking this same planet. 9. And today, there is one. Us. So what happened to the others? And why are we the only ones left? Let's meet the family. In Europe and Western Asia lived the Neanderthals. Stocky, powerful, built for the cold. They hunted enormous animals with spears at close range, which is a job description that should tell you everything about how tough they were. In Asia lived the Denisovans, and they are the mystery of the group. We know them almost entirely from a few bone fragments and their DNA. We know they existed. We barely know what they looked like. Also in Asia was Homo erectus, the long-distance champion of the human family, a species that survived for well over 1 million years, far longer than we have managed so far. On the island of Flores in Indonesia, there was Homo floresiensis, nicknamed the hobbits. They stood about 1 meter tall, roughly the height of a modern 4-year-old, and they were fully grown adults. In the Philippines, Homo luzonensis, another small island species we only discovered a few years ago. In South Africa, Homo naledi, a species with a brain about the size of a chimpanzee's, who may still have buried their dead deep inside a cave system. And there were others. Homo heidelbergensis, Homo antecessor, the red deer cave people of China. Plus, almost certainly, more we haven't found yet. For most of the time our species has existed, Earth was not a planet with humans on it. It was a planet with many kinds of humans on it. Now, before we go further, we need to kill an idea you probably grew up with, that these other humans were slow, stupid, grunting brutes, and we were the clever ones who obviously won. That is completely wrong. Take the Neanderthals. Their brains were, on average, slightly larger than ours. They made specialized stone tools. They controlled fire. They made clothing. They used plants as medicine. They buried their dead. They cared for the sick and the injured. We have found Neanderthal skeletons with old healed injuries, people who could not have hunted or fed themselves, who clearly survived for years because someone else looked after them. They made pigments. They collected shells and eagle talons, objects with no practical use, which means they had symbols, meaning, decoration. And in a cave in Spain, there are paintings that appear to predate our arrival in Europe entirely, which means Neanderthals may have been making art before we ever showed up. These were not brutes. These were people. So were the others, in their own ways. And then, one by one, they all disappeared. Homo erectus, gone. The hobbits, gone. Homo naledi, gone. The Denisovans, gone. The Neanderthals, gone around 40,000 years ago. By roughly 10,000 years ago, every other kind of human on Earth had vanished. And for the first time in our entire history, we were alone. That is not a normal turnover. That looks like a mass extinction of an entire family. And the obvious question is, why? Scientists have a few suspects. Suspect 1. Climate. The world these species lived in was violent and unstable. Ice ages advanced and retreated. Forests turned to grassland and back again. Coastlines moved. Species that were highly specialized for one environment, like the cold-adapted Neanderthals, were extremely vulnerable when that environment changed underneath them. Suspect 2. Competition. Not necessarily war. Something quieter and honestly more brutal. 2 species that want the same food, the same water, the same caves, in the same valley. If one of them is even slightly better at finding food, or has slightly more children who survive, then over enough generations the other one simply fades out. No battle required. Just losing, slowly. Suspect 3. Us. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because the timing is hard to ignore. In Europe, which has the best archaeological record, the pattern is stark. Modern humans arrive. And within a few thousand years, the Neanderthals, who had survived there for hundreds of thousands of years, are gone. That could be coincidence. It probably isn't. But here is the part that surprises people the most. It wasn't only conflict, because we didn't just meet these other humans. We had children with them. If your ancestry is from outside Africa, you are carrying Neanderthal DNA in your body right now, typically around 1 to 2% of your genome. If you have ancestry from parts of Asia or Oceania, you may also be carrying Denisovan DNA. Some of it isn't just leftover junk, either. Certain inherited Denisovan genes appear to help people survive at high altitude in Tibet. Neanderthal genes influence things like immune response and skin. They are not entirely gone. Pieces of them are still walking around, inside us. So if they were smart, strong, and adapted to their environments, why did we win? Probably not because we were individually superior. The best evidence points to something less flattering and more interesting. We were better at scale. Our groups seem to have been larger and more connected. We traded materials across long distances. Ideas and tools could travel between groups. So a good innovation didn't die with the person who invented it. We used symbols and art heavily, which supports storing information outside a single brain. And we were generalists. Neanderthals were superbly built for cold European hunting. We were mediocre at everything and adaptable at everything, which sounds like an insult until the climate collapses. When conditions shifted, the specialists broke. The generalists with big social networks bent and survived. We probably didn't win because any one of us was better than any one of them. We won because there were more of us. We were better connected, and we could change. And that leaves us with something strange. We spend enormous effort staring into space, building telescopes, listening for signals, wondering whether there is any other intelligent species out there. Whether we are alone. For most of our history, we weren't. There were other minds here. Other kinds of people who made tools, buried their dead, cared for their injured, and looked up at the same sky we do. We met them. We lived beside them. Some of us had families with them. And now every one of them is gone. And we are the only kind of human left on a planet that used to have 9. We are not alone because we were always meant to be. We are alone because we are the ones who are left.